welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a fascinating and often overlooked mystery of the Bible, the sons of Moses. You know Moses, the legendary leader who parted the Red Sea and led the Israelites out of Egypt. But have you ever wondered what happened to his sons, Gershom and Eliezer? Why aren't they in the spotlight like Aaron's descendants? Did they simply vanish, or is there more to their story? In this video, we'll uncover the hidden legacy of Moses' sons, exploring the Bible's intriguing clues about their roles and why they never rose to prominence. Their story holds surprising lessons about God's purpose, timing, and the power of serving faithfully behind the scenes. If you've ever felt like you're in the background, not seen or celebrated, this episode is for you. We'll reveal why Gershom and Eliezer are more important than you think and why their lives matter to us today. So stick around to discover the surprising reasons Moses' sons were not in the spotlight, how their hidden legacy still impacts us today, and powerful lessons that will inspire you to embrace your unique role in God's plan. Don't miss this eye-opening journey into a rarely told story from the Bible. If you enjoy uncovering hidden truths and deepening your understanding of God's Word, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this with others who love exploring the Bible's secrets. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let's grow together in wisdom. Let's dive in, and the story of Moses' sons, Gershom and Eliezer, begins during Moses' time in Midian, a crucial period in Moses' life when he was in exile from Egypt. After fleeing Egypt for killing an Egyptian taskmaster, Moses found refuge in Midian, where he met and married Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, a priest of Midian, as told in Exodus 2, verses 15-22. It was during this time that Moses and Zipporah had their two sons, Gershom and Eliezer. The Bible first introduces us to Gershom in Exodus chapter 2, verse 22. Zipporah gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, saying, "I have become a foreigner in a foreign land." The name Gershom comes from the Hebrew root word ger, meaning sojourner or foreigner. This name reflects Moses' deep sense of displacement and alienation during his time in Midian. For Moses, who had grown up in the Egyptian palace as the adopted son of Pharaoh's daughter, this was a stark contrast. He went from royalty to being a fugitive in a foreign land, shepherding sheep far from the life he once knew. Gershom's name captures this feeling of being an outsider, reminding us of the emotional and spiritual journey Moses was undergoing at the time. The birth of Moses' second son, Eliezer, is mentioned later in Exodus 18, verses 3-4. One son was named Gershom, for Moses said, "I have become a foreigner in a foreign land." And the other was named Eliezer, for he said, "My father's God was my helper. He saved me from the sword of Pharaoh." Eliezer's name means "God is my help," which memorializes God's protection over Moses when he fled Egypt, reinforcing that God's hand guided and protected him through his journey. The emphasis on God's deliverance is not just a personal reflection of Moses' gratitude, but also a powerful reminder of God's faithfulness to his people. Gershom and Eliezer's roles in Moses' journey were unlike those of other prominent biblical families. They did not inherit leadership roles or play significant parts in the events of the Exodus. When God called Moses from the burning bush in Exodus 3, Gershom and Eliezer were still young, and Moses, hesitant and feeling unworthy of the monumental task God was assigning him, was accompanied by his family, including his wife and sons, on his initial journey back to Egypt. Exodus 4, verse 20 highlights this moment. So Moses took his wife and sons, put them on a donkey, and started back to Egypt. And he took the staff of God in his hand. This verse signifies that Moses' family was a part of the beginning of his mission. Despite their proximity to one of the most defining moments in biblical history, Gershom and Eliezer's involvement remained largely unrecorded in the subsequent narrative, and their presence highlights the personal side of Moses, his life balancing his divine mission with his responsibilities as a husband and father. A pivotal moment involving Moses' family occurs in Exodus 4, verses 24-26. at a lodging place on the way the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him, but Zipporah took a flint knife. This dramatic event, likely involving Gershom, emphasizes the importance of the covenant of circumcision which God had established with Abraham, Genesis 17, verses 10-14. Circumcision was a sign of being set apart as God's people, and Moses' neglect of this covenantal act almost led to his death, while Zipporah's swift action re-established the family's alignment with God's commands. This incident underlines the broader biblical principle that even those chosen by God, like Moses, must adhere to his covenantal laws, and it also highlights the critical role of Moses' family in supporting his divine mission even in ways not always visible. So now why did Gershom and Eliezer fade into the background? Despite their involvement in the early stages of Moses' journey, Gershom and Eliezer do not continue to play prominent roles in the unfolding story, and several factors might explain their relative obscurity. Number 1. Focus on Aaron's lineage. God appointed Aaron and his descendants as the priests of Israel, a significant role that required great responsibility and visibility, as shown in Exodus 28, verses 1-3. Aaron's sons Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar were directly involved in priestly functions, which may have intentionally limited Moses' sons' visibility to avoid confusion about spiritual leadership. Number 2. The emphasis on Moses' unique role. Moses served as prophet, leader, and mediator between God and the Israelites in a way that did not automatically extend to his sons. Deuteronomy, chapter 34, verses 10-12, underscores that no prophet has arisen like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. This passage underscores that Moses' leadership was distinctive, and his sons were not positioned to inherit his prophetic or leadership roles. Number 3. Possibility of returning to Midian. There is a possibility, as suggested by some traditions, that Gershom and Eliezer may have returned to Midian with Zipporah during the Exodus journey. Exodus 18, verses 1-6, tells of Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, bringing Zipporah and the sons back to meet Moses at Mount Sinai, suggesting the family may not have been present for all dramatic events. This reunion indicates a possible separation which may explain their limited presence during significant moments of Israel's journey. Although Gershom and Eliezer's roles are not prominently featured in the Exodus story, 1 Chronicles chapter 23, verses 14-17, provides a brief genealogy showing their descendants continued to serve in Israel. The sons of Moses, the man of God, were counted as part of the tribe of Levi. The descendants of Gershom and Eliezer were counted among the Levites, the tribe chosen by God to assist in the care and service of the tabernacle, and later the temple. While Aaron's descendants were designated as priests, the broader Levitical line was tasked with supportive roles like maintenance and guarding the sanctuary, as outlined in Numbers 3, verses 5-9. The Lord said to Moses, "Bring the tribe of Levi. They are to take care of all the furnishings." Although Gershom and Eliezer's descendants were part of this broader Levitical service, the specific details of their roles are not elaborated, indicating they were not as high profile as the priests. The line of Gershom, Shubabel's role. Gershom's lineage is specifically mentioned in 1 Chronicles 23, verse 16, where Shubal, sometimes spelled Shul, is named as the first of Gershom's descendants. Shul later appears in 1 Chronicles 24:20 among the leaders of the Levites. As for the rest of the descendants of Levi, from the sons of Shubal, Jediah. Shul's presence indicates a leadership role, though it was not priestly, reflecting how Gershom's line contributed to worship organization. The line of Eliezer, Rehabiah's numerous descendants. Eliezer's line is noted as having many descendants, particularly through Rehabiah, as highlighted in 1 Chronicles 23, verse 17, where the sons of Rehabiah were very numerous, indicating a flourishing family among the Levites. The emphasis on their numbers suggests they were a thriving part of the tribe, even without prominent titles. The importance of Rehabiah's descendants is shown in how Chronicles highlights their proliferation, reflecting a special blessing reminiscent of God's promise to Abraham. I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. Though they did not achieve high priestly status, Rehabiah's descendants served supportively, contributing to the stability and continuity of Israel's worship. The comparison between the descendants of Aaron and those of Moses highlights a deliberate distinction made by God. Aaron's line was specifically chosen for priesthood, a position of spiritual leadership that carried great responsibility and privilege. In contrast, Moses' descendants were integrated into the broader Levitical service without special recognition, further underscored in 1 Chronicles 24, where Aaron's sons have detailed priestly roles, but Moses' sons are only briefly mentioned. These were the divisions of the descendants of Aaron, sets them apart as priests. This clear delineation sets Aaron's sons as central figures in priestly functions, showing that God's callings are distinct and not always aligned with human inheritance expectations. While Gershom and Eliezer may not have been prominent, their lives and legacy still hold valuable lessons for us today. Their story serves as a powerful reminder that God's purpose and timing often transcend human recognition. Here are some key lessons we can learn from their lives. The lives of Gershom and Eliezer teach us that not everyone is called to be in the spotlight, and that's aligned with God's design. While Moses' sons did not achieve the fame their father did, they were still integral to God's unfolding plan. Their story highlights that God's purpose for each of us is unique, and that our lives hold meaning even when we are not at the forefront. Ecclesiastes 3:1 encapsulates this truth. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. This verse reminds us that God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our desires, and Gershom and Eliezer's lives were significant in God's appointed roles. Similarly, Romans 8:28 assures us that God works all things for good for those who love him. Just as God wove Gershom and Eliezer into Israel's history in a supporting role, he continues weaving our lives into his purpose in ways we might not fully understand. Lack of visible recognition does not diminish the value of our contributions when part of God's plan. Although Gershom and Eliezer were not famous, their descendants continued serving God among the Levites, showing how faithfulness endures beyond our lifetimes. We might not see our full impact, but seeds of obedience can bear fruit generations later. Psalm 112, verses 1-2, celebrates the enduring legacy of the righteous. Blessed are those who fear the Lord. The generation of the upright will be blessed. This underscores how those who obey God leave a lasting imprint on future generations. Gershom and Eliezer's descendants, though not in the spotlight, contributed steadily to Israel's worship. Their story reminds us that our faithfulness can influence many after us, even if we never gain recognition ourselves. Hebrews 6:10 assures us that God will not forget our work and love as we help his people, showing that every act of service matters to him. Moses' life proves God's calling matters more than human acclaim, despite his own doubts and challenges. Likewise, Gershom and Eliezer's obscurity shows that real importance isn't about status, but about obedience. Philippians 2:3-4 tells us to do nothing from selfish ambition and to value others above ourselves, mirroring the humility within Moses' family. 1 Samuel 16:7 reminds us that while people focus on outward appearance, the Lord looks at the heart. Gershom and Eliezer's lesser visibility does not imply lesser worth. God treasures devotion more than achievements. Many feel unseen when not in a visible role, but their story urges us to find purpose in the tasks God gives us, trusting that each act of service matters. Even if our contributions appear small, depending on God's plan brings true fulfillment. Gershom and Eliezer's example challenges us to prioritize obedience over ambition. In a world craving recognition, their narrative shows genuine fulfillment arises from aligning with God's will. So where did the sons of Moses disappear to, and are they important? Their hidden narrative demonstrates that God's plans aren't always about visibility, as Gershom and Eliezer's legacy underscores his faithfulness and the call to obedience. Their absence in the biblical spotlight doesn't mean insignificance, but rather God's unique design for each life. Whether at center stage or quietly serving behind the scenes, every person has a place in his grand narrative. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Let's continue exploring the Bible's hidden treasures together. God bless you and see you next time.